Republicans are still calling for President-elect Trump to clean house at the DOJ. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt had this to say about the changes.
I think accountability means, first and foremost, the people involved in this should be fired immediately. And anybody part of this this effort to keep President Trump off the ballot and to throw him in jail for the rest of his life because they didn't like his politics and to continue to cast him as a quote-unquote threat to democracy was wrong. And so we'll see where that goes. But I just don't think in this country, unless we want to be a banana republic, I don't want to see that happen.
And for more on this, we're going to bring in former U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C. and Newsmax contributor Joe diGenova and former Chief Counsel at the Senate Intelligence Committee, also a Newsmax contributor, Victoria Toensing. Good to see you both. Joe, I'm going to start with you. We just had Corey Lewandowski on at the top of the show at 2 o'clock, said accountability is coming, to the senator's point, to whoever was involved with pulling this against President Trump and, frankly, against the American people, what they have done to the DOJ. Again, accountability is coming. What do you think that looks like?
Well, I think there should be a special counsel appointed to investigate Jack Smith and all of the people involved in the decision-making about the federal cases. This is a violation of Donald Trump's civil rights, 18 U.S.C. 241. There's no doubt there was a conspiracy involving the FBI, people in the White House, certainly during the Barack Obama administration, certainly during the Biden administration, people at the FBI, to conspire to deny Donald Trump his civil rights. No better example than the raid at Mar-a-Lago, totally legally unnecessary. And by the way, Jack Smith's dismissal today of the indictment is a phony because he dismissed it without prejudice, which means he can bring it when Trump leaves the presidency. So it's a Damocles sword hanging over the president's head.
So I want you to repeat that just because Jack Smith dropped this case does not mean that it won't potentially come back.
That's right. He did not drop the case. He dismissed it without prejudice. That was the first question I asked when I saw the headline on Newsmax. Was it with or without prejudice? It was without prejudice. He was trying for the last 3 weeks to figure out how not to drop the case. You can be sure of that. And so he couldn't figure that out. So now he's just going to do it without prejudice. And you can't. It's not so simple to just say, well, the new attorney general can go back and dismiss it with prejudice. There's no case to dismiss. It's gone. So Pam Bondi would have to file a case, and then it would have to get a judge that was friendly and agree with a dismissal with prejudice. If you remember, Judge Sullivan did not do that for Michael Flynn, and Trump had to ultimately pardon Mike Flynn because Sullivan would not dismiss the case, even though he was told to do so by the appellate court.
So since he dismissed it without prejudice, also we know Judge Merchan has got some decisions to make, but also could bring back the case against Trump here in New York after he's done with the presidency, I guess.
The sentencing,
Yeah,
right?
the sentencing. Maybe this is shaping up to some kind of plan. I know it's 4 years away, but, Joe, we've seen crazier things before happen. What do you think about these decisions?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that Jack Smith's decision was purely political. They've dressed it up to make it look like it was very thoughtful and legalistic. But in fact, once he said without prejudice, that means they wanted to leave it over the president's head. Now, the president can order his attorney general to do what Victoria said, to go in and dismiss a new case with prejudice. He can also pardon everybody right now and get rid of all those cases and then pardon himself on January the 19th, 2029. So I think with Merchan, listen, the guy's a total political hack. I've heard people on this network saying he hasn't done anything political in his case. The guy's done nothing but be political throughout this case. One of the most atrocious performances by a trial judge in a criminal case in the history of the country. He's going to do everything he can to keep this over President Trump's head. We shall see what they do.